conversation. We're happy to have these women here to share their experiences. And the first thing I'd like to start off is by asking a question to both. It doesn't matter who chooses to answer the question first. What do you perceive to be one of the biggest barriers with attracting women into the STEM field?
Yeah, I think there are several issues, but one of the main things is very early on, in early education itself, girls tend to have a general feeling that they don't have the aptitude for math and science. Partially it's due to peer pressure, what they hear from generally the society, where men are supposed to do certain fields and girls are supposed to do different fields. And STEM careers typically not where they would go. And also just a general low self-esteem or belief that you can actually do it. I think that's the fundamental thing.
So I agree with Dr. Rupa. And from my experience, I can tell that most girls, they even don't have more information or the guidance about these STEM careers. Again, they don't have many women role models to follow. So eventually, they don't decide to go into the IT or computer science or STEM related fields. But with now having so much exposure on STEM careers, girls and women are choosing careers in computer science. That's a good sign. But still, we are not having those numbers, which we want to have as equal participation of men and women, 50-50, and we are working on that. So in today's presentation, I would like to show you that information, that so many career opportunities you have, and you can choose these careers, and we can have a big workforce in the United States and around the globe. Thank you.
So what we're going to do right now is allow Ms. Kapoor to show a presentation that she prepared for us. It goes a little bit with her journey and talks about the process that she's gone through to get to where she is right now. So you want to come on up.
Good morning, everyone. So today's presentation, I will try to show you some information about various career opportunities available in STEM. Especially, we narrow down to computer science and IT. I also tell about myself, my journey in STEM. So when we talk about STEM, everyone knows it's science, technology, engineering, and math. So all together, the field is called STEM, where you learn all these different subjects. These are some popular role models, women role models. I love these women. They are all from the big IT corporations. So these are some of the example women in IT. So, my name is Shifali, and I'm born and brought up in India. Since my childhood, I had very strong academic abilities and strong foundation. I wanted to be an IAS officer, and my parents wanted to see me as a doctor. But you know, the life is uncertain, and you never know what will happen tomorrow. And tragedy happened in my life. My father, Vijay Kapoor, died at a very young age of 45. And at that time, I was in college studying in my bachelor degree in electronics. Being an eldest member in the family, I had to take up the responsibility of earning and taking care of my 2 younger sisters and my mother. And I take up those responsibilities very, happily with the courage. I finished my degree in electronics with flying colors. At the same time, I started giving tuitions to get some money, which got very good response. I also gave so many different competitive exams myself, and to think for what should be the next career opportunity for me. At that same time, I found that there is a lack of good education and career counseling, guidance, and support. And you don't find any perfect information. And I'm talking about when there is no internet, easily available in India. So that was really difficult to identify resources or information. So inside entrepreneur of mine thought to tap this opportunity, and I thought to start my own business instead of working for someone. I started my first venture called Vijay Education and Career Guidance Center in 1990 after name of my late father Vijay. So when I chose name Vijay with specific purpose, the first reason was Vijay stands for victory. It's an Indian name, meaning of Vijay is victory. And there is a tradition in India that only sons carries their father name and their legacy, while daughter gets married and they change their name, they accept their husband's name. And I wanted to prove this tradition wrong by choosing my father's name as my business name, which I did. After 29 years now, I made it Vijay a global brand. And I proved that, yes, daughters can also carry father's name. So with the strong background in electronics and computers and being a visionary entrepreneur, I found that computer education and training is a need of hour. That was the time when just computer introduced in India. The computers were not really easily accessible for every single person like we have now. And young men, young women, all boys and girls, they wanted to go for computer education if it is affordable and they carry some employment value after the course. So seeing all this, I converted my business into the computer training business named Vijay Computer Academy in few days. And I started to offer basic to advanced computer courses at affordable prices. I also got recognition from Ministry of Information Technology, Government of India, to offer NILT courses. So these courses offers post-graduation and master degree courses in India. So student comes to us, we train them in theory on practical. Finally, they will appear on government recognized exams and they receive the same degree and diplomas which you receive from any college or university. After that, we started corporate training, and that day, from then to now, we never look back. Till date, we have trained 28,000 students on various IT skills. Out of these 28,000 students, 60% are female students. I'm very proud of that. Under the another segment we started is corporate social responsibility, because I believe to give back to community. We did a lot of women empowerment projects in various rural and urban areas of my state, Gujarat, in India. Those rural areas where there was not enough infrastructure or even the regular supply of electricity, we created a mobile training facilities. We took our computers, generators, and we trained these young women on various IT skills, free, do not charge anything. We also helped them to get employment after this training. At the same time, parallelly, I got so many opportunities to visit different countries, being a part of various business delegations. I visited Mauritius, Tanzania, UK, France, Austria, Germany, finally United States, being a delegate of different delegations. And that gave me a big international business development exposure and experience. These are some awards. I say the major is Best Woman Entrepreneur Award and the Shiksha Salman Award. After that, I got married to Mr. Amish, and I moved to United States in 2005. I settled in Houston. Here I expanded my BCA's various services. We started one-to-one live online training programs. Now we are a global IT education and training company. We do worldwide training. Still, my hub is India, and we are offering this training with the remote instructor, but you can do this training from anywhere, any part of the world. I'm a champion of STEAM for Girls, Women Empowerment through Technology Training, CS for All, and Workforce Development. As I told you, I started giving back to community. Right now, we are doing different IT training programs at various community centers, at different faith-based organizations. Vijay Computer is also a regional community partner with Girls Who Code, where we offer free coding clubs to the girls in grade 3 to 12th grade. I facilitate this club in my community in Aliana in Richmond. I'm also a director of Women Who Code Houston Network, where our goal and mission is to help women to excel in technology careers. Pretty soon we will be having some programs with help of Ravi at HCC under Women Who Code. And what I say is I am on mission of making a positive impact and transform and empower lives with our world-class IT, education, training, career counseling, mentoring, and sponsoring. When I say sponsoring, we help girls and women to get employment, to go for a self-employment, all kind of sponsoring, giving them a little push. I'm also an international career counselor with 36,000 plus hours experience in global IT education and vocational and workforce training arena. And that's not the end. So I named my business journey Vijay Yatra, and I say Vijay Yatra continues. So the next goal or next dream for me is to visit the world with my family to promote STEM for girls and women empowerment through technology training. I also expanded my horizons for the women entrepreneurship development, reducing gender gap in IT and computing, work from home resources for moms, factory entry program for the women who took some kind of break, and mentoring and sponsoring women in tech. Pretty soon we'll be having IT career school in Houston. So, seeing that, I would like to touch a little bit upon what kind of career opportunities we see in United States, specifically in IT. So, 5 years from now, there will be 1.4 million jobs open in United States in computing related fields, out of which only 29% of jobs will be filled by US graduates, out of which only 3% are filled by women. So I say this is a IT skill gap and shortage of talent. It's a skill crisis. So this is the right time to pursue careers in IT. So this is the right time for when we say to close the gender gap, to go inspire girls and women to pursue, computer and IT related careers. So when we say IT careers, there are two ways. The one is traditional pathways, other is the non-traditional career pathway. Traditional means when you go to community college or a regular college or university and you get any associate degree, bachelor degree, master degree. But if you don't want to do that, or you are in a different field and still you want to go pursue IT careers, then you can go to the non-traditional way, where you can go to some career school, career college, and you can learn about these workforce demanded skills and certifications in IT. The broad way these certifications are, I have divided into 5 different segments. The first is called the web development, where you have all the courses, certification related to the web development. Another is the software development. Third area is called networking and cybersecurity. Fourth is data analytics. And fifth is testing and help desk services. I have some most popular So I have some most popular certifications and development. Web developers collect and create web contents and plan website layouts. Other is the mobile application development. Same way, it's the developers creating applications on the mobile devices. Next is cloud solution architect. I'll be leaving this presentation here, so you may have some more information. With the time constraint, I'm not going to read all other information, but then you can have this more details here. Next is development operation engineer. So they do different databases and information systems in the organization. User interface designer, which is logically works with the users and consumers. Site reliability engineer, who makes sure that the website for the organization is running smoothly. Data architect, who works with the data. Data scientist, who work with the gathering and application of the data. Business intelligence developer, that helps to optimize the storage and implementation and flow of data. Database administrator, who is responsible for organizing and managing organization's data. These are some hardware related careers. Computer system analyst, who works with the systems. Software engineer, who works with the testing and optimizing computer programs. Information security analyst, who works with the security strategies and cyber crime. Computer technical support specialist, he is working with the corporations and individual clients for the troubleshooting and problem solving. Hardware engineers. Now, all of these career opportunities are really high in demand. How do you track these careers, or if you want to go with the non-traditional way? So we say bridging the skills gap and economic empowerment. with the workforce development, and these are some courses which you can pursue. The most popular are the Microsoft courses. Microsoft Office Specialist, this is the certification which can be pursued by anyone. You don't need any basic knowledge in IT or previous background. Anyone can learn and give the exam and have this certification. Similarly, Microsoft Office has 2 more categories with the expert and master, but this can be done by anyone. These are all technology associates certifications. Power BI is most popular now with the data, and you can have a BI developer certification. Oracle is another popular database. So SQL Server, Oracle, these are the DBA certifications. Software testing is another area which is always in demand, and that can be pursued by any of the person without having any IT background. Apart from that, we have so many other, small courses like QuickBook, Full Stack Development, Unix, Photoshop, C++, and any kind of courses can be done. This is the basic information about Girls Who Code. I told you we offer free coding clubs for young girls from grade 3 to 12th grade, and we are opening up this club to different communities. These are some online courses we offer from India. So these are one-to-one personalized online courses, and you can sit at home or office or anywhere, and you can feel like you are sitting in the classroom, and you can learn with your remote instructor one-to-one. Thank you for giving me an opportunity, and this time, thank you for listening to me. Rumala and the whole team, Ravi, Dr. Rupa, thank you so much.
Dr. Rupa, did you have some comments or some words you'd like to say about your background?
Yeah, I think no, you've already said it all. So.
Hello everyone. So I got a fabulous introduction. I don't know if I deserve that, but I'm a real believer that women in STEM are going to change the world, and we need that more in terms of the global economy. I'll talk about that, but also bringing a change in the workplace, in the corporate world, because women bring a lot of different ideas, empathy, multitasking, negotiation skills, which are all needed. I mean, you can have your STEM career, but women bring a lot of added value. So my talk today, do I go this one? Yeah. Is I'll try to go through this fairly quickly because I was told to focus more on my career path, but I want to give you some ideas about why STEM, why are we talking about the importance of STEM? And so this is what I'm going to be covering, and the gender gap between men and women. Where do we stand today? A little bit about my career in STEM, the challenges that I faced, and how important early intervention is that we spoke earlier on. How do you make a change in the mindsets of women through mentors and role models? And finally, I'll leave you with some thoughts about McKinsey. How many of you know about McKinsey? Okay, well you need to know because McKinsey is a global consulting firm. They work throughout the world, and they have done extensive research on why women matter. So why STEM? So number one, for US to be competitive and to maintain the economic growth in the ever-changing global situation, there is a need for STEM professionals. Now, STEM jobs, there are various numbers, but in general, they're projected to grow about 13 to 18% at about twice the rate of non-STEM jobs. So think about that. Most of the future jobs, majority, are going to be in STEM. Second thing is, if you go through a STEM, graduate program, your salaries are offered at a premium, roughly about 26% higher than a non-STEM. So, and now let's come to what is happening in the US. So amongst the 35 members of the OECD countries, right, there are about 35 members, US ranks about 30th in math. That's 30th at the bottom. Okay? And it ranks about 19th in science. So you see the urgency. I mean, this is really meant for everyone, right? Not just women. This is extremely important for US to remain competitive globally, that STEM needs to be developed. And then the last point that I had was US is amongst these advanced industrialized nations, the proportion of, this is college students receiving advanced degrees in STEM is at the bottom. So obviously there's an urgency that we need to look at this. So now let's look at the gender gap and inequality. So there are roughly about 60% of women students, who are going to grad school. But only 35% actually get undergrad degrees in STEM. But what's more important here is there are two areas where women typically go into. So first I had a question here for all of you. How many of you are in biology? Okay. And that is the medical, going into the medical track. And how many of you are in social sciences? Okay. So let me ask, how many of you are in engineering? Not a single. How many of you you're in engineering? Which engineering is this? Which engineering are you wanting to go into? Chemical? Mechanical. Fantastic. And what about math? How many of you are in mathematics? Very good. At least we have 3. So these are the areas where women are far below the 35%. It ranges from 10 to 19%. So those are the areas where we need more women in it. And in terms of workforce, overall workforce, women constitute about half the workforce, but only 28% are in science and engineering. And what is really sad is that it goes down very quickly. The moment they enter the workforce, due to family reasons, either because they have kids themselves and they have to take care of kids at home, or they have aging parents. So they're really sandwiched between the two, taking care of aging parents as well as their own kids. So, and now let's look at the pay, the salaries. Women earn 1/5 less than their male counterparts. Okay? And there are only 6 countries, and all of them are in Europe, that offer equal benefits to men and women. US is not one of them, UK is not one of them. So that's again something where a lot needs to be done in terms of equal opportunity, equal pay, equal benefits. So, go to the next slide. So I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. So I was very interested when I was in middle school in the arts. So I loved dancing. I was also very interested in Shakespeare and literature. But my parents were both in education. They were all, and they provided a lot of guidance to me. And they actually forcibly put me in an all-science school. I was very upset in the beginning. However, I found a fantastic mentor, my geography teacher, who talked about plate tectonics, how the highest mountains form, how the valleys form, with a very simple illustration of, like a napkin on a table, and showing how plates move and how these valleys and ridges are formed. And it fascinated me. Earth science really fascinated me. So then I decided to go to college and do geology. But however, my grades were good. And again, my father intervened and said, hey, you've got good grades for physics. And once you do physics, you get a very broad background to do any other subject. So I ended up, and he said, you can always go to geology after you've done physics. And that's what I ended up doing. I did physics honors, then I ended up doing, geophysics, then ultimately a PhD in geophysics. But here's the challenge that I faced. I was refused admission. This IIT rookie that eventually awarded me the gold medal, I was refused admission because of the field trips that girls have to take. I was the first woman or lady student in geophysics in the university. There was, none before me. And so, in field trips, girls and boys go on, to visit various mines, and they would be sleeping in, with sleeping bags in one large room, and they didn't know what to do with a girl student, because they were all men professors or boy students. So, but this is where it's important. Women need to fight for their rights. And both me and my father, we fought for it, and finally, the university accepted, and then they started having chaperones. So the professor's wife would also go along on this trip. So she loved it. So then after that, I got, I came from a very ordinary background in India, and I got a scholarship to go to France and pursue graduate studies and eventually get my PhD. And then I started my career in oil and gas with Schlumberger in 1981. And it's been fun. I mean, I don't know how many of you know about the company. Do you know, has anybody heard of Schlumberger?
Yes.
Okay, great. So it's a fantastic company, especially for women. It is one of the most progressive companies you can come across because they truly believe the value that women bring to the corporation. So I went through the ranks and eventually ended up being the first scientific advisor at Schlumberger, the first woman scientific advisor. And then when I retired in 2013, I was at that time the director of Technology Watch, which is basically a position where you look for companies that are dealing with unconventional oil and gas. That's the shale market, the shale boom. So the idea was to look for technologies that should be either acquired by Schlumberger or should it be built in-house, and which are the companies we recommend and so on. So that's what I did, and I had fantastic time working. I worked for about 20 years overseas in different countries all over the world, learned different languages, dealing with different people, and it's been a great blessing. So then, when I retired in 2013, which I wish I had done earlier, because the next phase of my life was even more challenging and really very satisfying, and that is social entrepreneurship. So like we just talked about how important it is for kids to believe in themselves and have role models early on, right at elementary school. So that's when I started this organization, a nonprofit called I Educate, where we work with school districts to engage college students while they're still studying. We pay college students $18 an hour, so they get some money to pay for college, and they help build the next generation. They're fantastic role models because they have made it, they're in college, and they are then serving as co-teachers and mentors in the elementary school classroom. So that's what I Educate is. So, like I said, it is extremely important to start early. So we started with Houston Independent School District. You know, I don't know how many of you know the statistics in Houston or in Texas in general. Less than 20% who graduate from high school in Texas are ready for college. About half, 50% cannot read. So in fact, our program was essentially STEM. And we were hiring mainly, when we started, engineering students from University of Houston. That was the highest number. Today we employ over 200 college students that are embedded in these elementary school classrooms as mentors. And our the kind of majors we look at are ranging from English majors, history majors, law, business, obviously science, technology, engineering, math, so all of those majors. So, and this is where I believe we make a big difference. So I'll tell you a very, a little story about a young girl, a 4th grader in Blackshear Elementary School. This is in the 3rd ward, right around the corner. And we had one of our college student mentors in the classroom, and she told this mentor that she's just dumb and she just cannot do math. So then he asked, why do you feel that way? And she said, well, my parents tell me that, my teacher tells me, all her peer group tells, and so it was so ingrained in her psyche. So you just imagine what goes through these young girls early on. So this mentor told her, this is what I want you to do for me. Go home, look at yourself in the mirror, and tell yourself, look at yourself and say, I'm smart. And you just say that. And she, the following weekend, she came back, she was very excited because she did it on Saturday, on Sunday, and this girl is a changed girl. She believes that she can do it. And now she's doing extremely well in math. So this is how you make a positive change in getting more STEM students in the country. It really is a no-brainer, think about it. You have smart kids in colleges, you have failing schools. If you can bring the college kids in the classroom to help build the next generation, this is what we should be doing in every city in the country. So finally, this is the last part as to why women matter. So women are half the population of the world, right? And gender equality is a critical component of economic growth, right? This is well understood. And this is done by McKinsey Global Institute, which suggests that companies with senior level women tend to perform better financially. Now, not only that, I do know because I represented Schlumberger at the UN when we had the focal point of women, and the main idea behind that was, how do you hire more women? How do you retain more women? And this was one of the most important things. What kind of workplace can you create environment for them so that women, with work-life balance? Because what we believe, and I'm talking now at Schlumberger, is that women have better negotiation skills. they had been a multitasker from day one, right? Raising kids and going to school, taking care of, all the rest of the stuff, cooking, cleaning, and working. So, and also in terms of, negotiation skills, they're excellent in that. Last but not least is loyalty. They have discovered that when they hire women, women are not looking for the immediate next paycheck from another company with a slight difference. They're looking for more recognition of what they bring to the table. So if a company invests in a woman, they actually gain in terms of loyalty, so there's less attrition. So these are all the different reasons. And finally, the last point is that if you add women to the global workforce, by 2025, you will add $12 trillion to the global economy. And that is something extremely important. So I believe done. And if there are any questions, I guess we both would be happy to answer.
Plug-in. This is a plug. So
So I want to add one more thing. Today, the second largest group of college mentors that we have employed by IGK is actually from HCC. So it is UH and then HCC, and I'm really looking forward to more from HCC because it's a natural transition, because they spend much longer time getting through associate degree, then going to college, and therefore, at another university, so they spend much longer time to develop these relationships with these elementary school kids as well as the teachers in the class. So those who wish to apply, we welcome them. Thank you.
We have a question from Dr. McLean.
What role did your mom play in your decision and your future?
For me, my mom was my role model, and since my childhood, she always taught me that you are never given a wish without giving a power to make it true. However, you have to work for it. So face all your challenges with courage, and nothing is impossible if you are determined. So at the point where my father died and I had to take up a path to for earning, when I say that I decided to do my own business, she 100% agreed with me. And from that point to whatever I have achieved in my life today, she is always with me, encouraging me, appreciating me. And every single day I told her what I have achieved for this day, even from US to India. She was in India, and then after my marriage I migrated to Houston and I settled here. Every single day I talked to her, I told her about my business, about my achievements, even my failures, my mistakes, and she has always encouraged me that, if it's not done this time, next time it is always you are successful. But then don't stop working don't stop trying, work hard, focus on your goal, and you have your dream come true. So my mom has played a significant role in my life. She is my role model. Thank you.
So my mom today is 99 years old, and her story is truly amazing. She got married, like many used to get married in the early 1900s, you know. She got married very early, like almost when she was like 15 and a half, 16-year-old. And her mother-in-law, that is my dad's mom, did not want her to go back to school because she would be the only girl student in a school. And the grandma said that she would go and jump in the river if her daughter-in-law went back to school. And my father was truly a feminist, and he really believed that women need to be educated because they're an equal partner, and if anything were to happen to him, she could take care of the family. So can you imagine, from that age onwards, she had 4 daughters. With each daughter, she stayed home, went back to school. She did double masters in math, philosophy, and then she specialized in English and phonetics. She got a scholarship from the British government, a British Council Fellowship, and she just is a true inspiration. And at the age of 50, she decided she wanted to learn how to sing classical music. And so it's never too late. It's never too late to start. So.
I have a question, because every time we think about this STEM career or this STEM education, the first thing comes to their mind, can I do it? Especially the girls who code. I have several students come to me, I don't have any idea like how to code, but should I do it? But I'm very interested. So how they can actually get over that fear, get over that barrier, since you both are in STEM education, STEM careers, so if you could just tell me something about, or tell the students a little bit about that.
So I agree. The first question come to every girl's mind is, hey, this is very difficult. I cannot do computer science, or how do I pursue coding? So when we do Girls Who Code clubs, first thing first, we do some different kind of activities to educate girls about coding, explaining them. It's not difficult. Anyone can do this. Second thing, we build sisterhood. We do a lot of activities. We create a kind of feeling for every girl where they say and they feel that, yes, my friends, my classmate, every girl is same like me, working on computer science. It's easy, it's fun, and I can do this. So encouraging girls, giving them different example of female role models in STEM. So we play videos every class on different women role models who did something different in IT and computer science. Then finally we start from the basics, we teach basic coding and we start from scratch. We don't need any background. Anyone can learn this. So all of these factors give girls confidence that yes, I can pursue computer science, I can go in IT, I can have an IT career. And I'm so happy to associate with the Girls Who Code, and I'm telling you my experience. I do myself all this club every Friday. I enjoy a lot, and then girls are motivated to go into the IT, computer science, if you show them a correct path. And you are all here, and I'm telling you, we are planning to open more these Girls Who Girl clubs in different communities. If you are interested to host this club, you want to volunteer for these clubs, you are more than welcome. Reach me out, and we can have more information about these clubs. And finally, we can work with young girls on their coding skills, giving them courage to go into computing and IT. Thank you.
Did you want to go?
So I have just one thing to add. I do believe role models are extremely important. So when you have a computer science major who is in a classroom and girls see, hey, girls can do, coding or can take these majors, that makes a big difference. So I believe role models are important.
Hello. How do you deal with
Step up.
how do you deal with someone being condescending to you in the workplace
Come
or
up.
intimidation? Because I have found that.
Bring that close to you.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
All right. How do you deal with? I'm just gonna say it out loud.
Yeah, say that.
Okay. How do you deal with people in the workplace being condescending to you for being a woman that's a strong leader, or intimidation?
Good question.
So I did not put that up, but that is the number one reason why women are dissuaded in the workplace or tend to leave the jobs, because of either a condescending boss or some form of sexual harassment. So this is something where a conscious effort is being done in a corporate environment to avoid problems like this. So this is an extremely important issue, and you're asking about how I dealt with it. I had an issue at one time, and someone made a remark that was not appropriate, and publicly I humiliated the boss. I mean, but I did not go and complain about it to the corporate, but I took care of it right then, and he would not do this again.
I am very fortunate. I own my own business, so I don't have any problem like that. That's why I like to be my own boss. Thank you. But yes, when you deal with different corporations, which I did many, we offer different computer training program to the employees of the corporations. You may find some authority, some officer, some person, and you find it's not behaving good or inappropriate. Then yes, you draw a line. For me, that's the big thing. I set the expectations, starting from student to the employees to the whoever I deal with. And when you have that, you don't have that issue. Thank you.
Hi, I know you talked about women empowerment, and you talked about just the importance of role models and everything like that. And my question was how do you go about motivating somebody who doesn't have a role model or wasn't brought up in a home where their parents are there for them, their parents are or just they don't have a role model in general.
I start mentoring the person. Though you don't have any role model, that's okay. You can start from beginning. I do counseling, mentoring, boys, girls, everyone. I prefer girls and women. And when we do mentoring and sponsoring, that helps girls and women to give values on the personal level, professional level, educational level. So my answer to your question is, I prefer to do one-to-one mentoring to the person and then help them to see for a new role model on personal level, professional level. Thank you.
So that's truly an excellent question. So what do you do? I mean, we work with young kids, right? And so we provide hope. But what do you do when you are at your level? How do you get a role model? Because you haven't had the background in the family. So I'll give you one thing. So within iEducate, we have a partnership with Junior Achievement, where they are industry professionals. And because many of the students, college students who are mentors in elementary school are actually could be first in the family to go to college, and they don't have mentors. So these professionals help them with, how do you write your resume, how do you interview for a job, and general career counseling. But I would like to address this generally. What if you're not part of an organization, you're not part of this iEducate or her company? What you really need to do is to find a mentor. You really need to. I myself, even when I reached the highest level, I had a mentor in the company. You always find people and you reach out, and you'll be surprised how willing they'd be to help you. So you need to just get out of the box and seek out someone, because mentors are extremely important in your life.
If a person isn't in STEM, can they still mentor elementary students?
Yes, of course. I mean, I was telling you the first year when we started, it was primarily STEM in 2013. But we very quickly realized that half the kids, 50%, could not read. So therefore we needed history majors, business majors, writing majors, any non-STEM who are good in English to communicate and to help build the reading and writing skills. Because you cannot do science and math if you cannot read. That's fundamental. So right now it's open to all. Obviously there's a GPA requirement, and then in addition to that, we look at empathy, communication skills, how do you relate to the child. So.
Hello, I would like to thank our guests for coming, and hopefully see you guys another time. Also, I would like to thank Professor McWindy and all the other professors for having this opportunity and bringing you guys over here. So my question is, how can we achieve a 50-50% female-male ratio, in society concerning the workforce in general, and also STEAM career in specific? And also, is the government should play a role in this by new legislations and new rules? Because right now we have a lot of females, in the military everywhere, and $12 trillion is a lot of money, so maybe if they come up with a new legislation that make companies hire a certain percentage of females, would be better. Thank you.
Yes. So to achieve 50, percentage of the balance for the men and women in the workforce, we have to start from the grassroots level. So when we talk about the grassroots level, specifically in STEM, there's organizations like Girls Who Code or Girls Who Develop It, or there are so many, or even my organization, Vijay Computer Academy. We started to educate, inspire, motivate girls to learn IT and STEM related, computer related courses, to pursue career in these STEM fields. So first thing first, education matters. Awareness, knowledge, inspiring, giving them strength, courage that yes, this is possible, you can pursue this, you can go for the workforce. Second most important information is career counseling and workforce related counseling. So showing the difference between, like Dr. Rupa did, the salary which you get from STEM related careers, the opportunities, flexibility. For girls, women, there is the additional responsibility of home, children, parents. With your IT or STEM related careers, there are so many opportunities where you can work from home, you can have remote work facilities, and you can do even your own business, self-employment. So these are only possible if you have those STEM related skills, careers, IT, computing, everything. So that's one thing. On government level, you say, yes, we had so many initiatives right now in United States where we are promoting CS for all, and I'm also an advocate for that. So CS for all is computer science for all. Second thing, we also have recently a new initiative for the women development in STEM related fields globally. That's by Ms. Ivanka Trump, and she has initiated new movement where all the women, they are given different kind of training in STEM related careers. So all of this, there is very positive environment. Everyone is working in the same direction to achieve 50-50 ratio. It will take little time, but yes, we are gearing up and we are working hard on private level, professional level, government level, industry level, every level. Thank you.
Yes, so at the level of the government, policy changes have to be made. There has to be funding. I don't know if you're reading the Houston Chronicle articles that are coming out by Lisa Falkenberg, who's the editor. You should have a look at it. This is for Texas, as to getting adequate funding for the schools K through 12. That's the first thing. And then you have corporations that need to let me give it a try. So corporations are recognizing that and having a certain percentage of jobs go to women. And remember, this is not just for the sake of having women. It's because women bring value to the corporation. That is the realization that companies are getting. Also at the board level, if you notice, there are companies that are now getting 50% of the board. like in Norway, they passed a legislation that 50% of corporate board will be women. And that's because women bring value, ethics, certain type of reasoning which they do not get if the women are not on the board. So these are all of the above. All these changes have to happen.
I would like to add one more thing, answer to your question. There are some organizations various organizations. The most popular is called AnitaB.org. This organization specially works for women in computing to do 50-50 ratio in workforce, and they have a mission by 2023. They want to achieve these numbers, and they work with all the big corporations. They are partner with them, and they promote women on all the levels in those corporations, especially in IT and computer related, STEM related fields. So this is one of the major initiatives, especially when we say United States is concerned.
Question that I have is, if you look at your career currently, and you look at the young ladies that are in this audience, how do you navigate to ensure your career success while maintaining, how should I put it, a viable family relationship that is not competitive with the husband and the family? I don't know if you get that question properly.
So let me also try to rephrase that a little.
Yeah.
What can the men do to support their wives, their girlfriends, their daughters, so that one, there is value add, no question about it. That's half the population, right? Empowering them betters the society. But what can men do to support that so that it's not seen as a competitive, why is it only focused on women, why not men as well? What can you do as both men and women in the family? I think that's what he's getting at with the family question.
Yes.
Tell us how supportive or not supportive your husband is about your business. Start there.
I am very fortunate. My husband is very supportive, and since we know each other, he support me in all the way, because it was a complete shift for me, leaving a well-established business in India to come to United States with the new environment, new people. Again, the business environment is totally different. Culture is different. Everything was new and different for me. And he supported me, helped me, to do everything, settling down, personal level, professional level, starting my new business here. I also own a Kumon Learning Center here in Richmond, Texas. So, he supported me like anything, with financially, emotionally. He supports me when I need his help for taking care of my daughter. So when I go to any conferences, any program, he takes care of my young daughter, everything. So my husband is really very supportive. I am very fortunate for that. Thank you.
So how is he motivated to do that? Is it because you bring in more money for the family, or is it because he enjoys being home, or what?
Two things. He loves the law and he likes money too.
Good.
Good.
Motive.
So I'm a single parent, and it has been obviously a challenge working on a rig going offshore, and 20 years were spent like this with a little child. So the only way that I could manage was because of the company, the corporation, the kind of support that they provided, my colleagues and friends. There were instances when I had to go on a business trip for a week to China, and I had a young child, and so my friends came up, friends and family provided that support. So that's a very important part.
I have one last question.
I'm just curious who each of yours ultimate female role model is.
First role model for me is my mom, and professionally, Melinda Gates.
So for me, it is my mother. She's been absolutely outstanding. And if I had to look for in the profession, I would say Indra Nooyi. I don't know if anyone of you know her. She's pretty amazing in terms of what she's achieved and maintaining that work-life balance, which is pretty delicate.
The question that I have is this. When I was in high school coming up, there were more boys than girls. Today there are more girls than boys. The other thing that happened is, the girls get mature faster than the boys. And how do you view that level of maturity and that change, and how did it affect your career as you proceed?
For me, girls rock all the time. Yeah. So when I started business, since inception of my company, we focus on girls and women to train on various IT and computer related courses. My statistics agrees with that. Out of 28,000 students we train, 60% are female candidates. And the reason behind that is, number one, the girls are really dedicated, they are hardworking, they are very serious about their careers, and they pursue whatever their education, with enthusiasm. I don't have any bias for boys or men, but then this is my experience in my life. And I always found that girls are really mature compared to their age. I'm also a mom of a 10-year-old girl, and today in the morning she said, "Mom, you have excellent presentation, okay? So rock the stage." So, they always support, and they are always having that sixth sense, I say, with them. And that's the reason probably they grow faster, they go on higher levels, they are more successful. These are all the attributes, I say. Thank you.
All right.
So, on behalf of Houston Community College Central Campus, the Science Department, the library, the Science Club, the Student Library Advisory Council, we just really want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to bring us these words of wisdom, to enrich us, to inspire us, to encourage us to move forward. So let's give them all a big round of applause. It's time to eat.
Karen.